This is Special Prosecutor Larry Klayman.
I'm the only lawyer ever to obtain a court ruling that a president of the United States committed a crime.
For truth. For competition.
As a young lawyer, I helped break up AT&T. That's why you have all your cell phones today.
For sovereignty. For the Republic.
I'm the guy who, at Judicial Watch, which I founded, uncovered the Chinagate scandal. Millions of dollars going to the Clinton campaign, corrupting our political system.
For the privacy of citizens.
And I'm the only guy to have enjoined the National Security Agency from mass surveillance on hundreds of millions of Americans.
Tearing it up.
I'm the son of meat packers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I know how to slice and dice.
Bringing it back.
We're going to take this country apart and put it back together again in the way envisioned by our founding fathers.
It's not just talk.
We're not just regurgitating news stories. Larry Klayman, special prosecutor, is making the news.
And now, here's Larry.
Welcome to this week's edition of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. It's a very special show. I have a true American patriot, a friend, someone who has the courage to take on Special Counsel Robert Mueller. His name, as you know, is Dr. Jerome Corsi. I want to give you a little bit of an introduction of what we've been doing on behalf of Dr. Corsi. And as I say, we just don't regurgitate the news. We make the news. But it's more important than news. It's about saving the integrity of this country. It's about restoring our system of justice. It's about standing up to bullies, tyrants, who are out there trying to destroy people because they want to take down the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And as you know, in the last few weeks, we have brought criminal complaints against the corrupted staff of Robert Mueller, the compromised staff, the leftist Democrat, anti-Trump staff. And we filed it with Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, with the Criminal Division of the Justice Department, with the U.S. Attorney of the District of Columbia, with the Office of Professional Responsibility, with the Inspector General, and with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel, which polices misconduct by lawyers in Washington, D.C. This is going forward, and we're going to be pressing to make sure that we get action in that regard. But just about a few days ago, we also filed a lawsuit. You probably read about it. You've seen Dr. Corsi on TV. You've seen him do radio interviews. You've heard them. Against Robert Mueller, $350 million lawsuit for illegally surveilling him, illegally wiretapping him, and also grand jury leaks. And of course, this week we found out and confirmed that, in fact, Mueller is leaking grand jury information. In a prior Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, which Freedom Watch brought against Special Counsel Robert Mueller and his staff, we uncovered documents showing that the press spokesperson, Peter Carr, when he would receive calls from the media, would go to a restaurant, tell them, meet me there, because he didn't want a record of what was going on at Paul Restaurant. It's a French cafe at 801 Pennsylvania Avenue. And that is where the leaks likely occurred. Plus leaks by people like Andrew Wiseman, Aaron Zelinsky, Jeannie Rhee, and others on that staff. They've been leaking now for a year and a half. They deny it. The leftist media covers for them. But this week, we've got proof positive that that happened. So I want to bring Dr. Corsi in now. We're going to go systematically through what happened to him. He's got an ebook out there on Amazon.com and other places. I urge you to purchase it. I urge you to go to CorsiNation.com and support him, his legal defense fund, and everything else, because he is the one guy that's standing up against Robert Mueller. He doesn't just get documents, and write stories. He is a great writer. He's a New York Times bestseller on a number of occasions, and I'll let him speak for himself now. But I want to introduce you to my friend, client, and patriot, Dr. Jerome Corsi, for which the entire American people should be extremely grateful that you have somebody like this that's standing up to this government tyranny. Dr. Corsi, welcome to Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman.
Larry, great to be with you today. Thank you very much.
Tell us about what happened this week with regard to these grand jury leaks. You were on Fox Business yesterday with Trish Regan and explained it. And you can go to CorsiNation.com and see that interview, or LarryKlayman.com. But tell us what went on in that regard. And then we're going to go through the tyranny that has been foisted upon you and your family by Special Counsel Robert Mueller.
Well, I got a great chance to explain this on Trish Regan last night. I'm very appreciative of that. And What happened was a reporter, this guy named Chuck Ross, for the Daily Caller, wrote a story on a fundraiser that I did with CorsiNation.com for a cancer patient named Tommy Sickler. And Chuck Ross, this is clearly leaked from the grand jury. The grand jury believes that this was a fraud, that Tommy Sickler isn't a cancer patient. They can't find the doctor. So the big mistake Chuck Ross made, first of all, was to call me and tell me that he had this information directly from the special counsel, inside sources. I better take it seriously, and I better answer his questions. And then he gave me this story, which is, I'm floored at, now the special prosecutor is even looking into my work with cancer patients. This is over the top. And leaking, we now can prove Chuck Ross is going to be a witness. He better get himself ready to be under oath in both cases, and with the Department of Justice, this criminal case, which I intend to go forward. If Acting Attorney General Whitaker is just another deep state fop, well, we're going to expose him too. But we've got Larry, you brought this $350 million suit in U.S. District Court. Judge Leon has given us a hearing on January 3rd. Chuck Ross is a witness. Now, let me explain that Tommy Sickler is a cancer patient. I've met Tommy Sickler. I have photographs with Tommy Sickler. Tommy Sickler had bladder cancer, and the doctor in question saved Tommy's life. I've met the doctor. In fact, I'm a patient of the doctor. They say, the doctor doesn't exist. Well, my answer to Trish Reagan last night was if Mueller can't find him and Chuck Ross can't find him, I guess they're not very good at what they're supposed to be doing. I thought this was the massive FBI with all their investigative powers in the world. They can't find the doctor? Well, give me a break. The doctor exists. I've had spinal stenosis in 2008, when I wrote the Abomination. And I went to Kenya, and I was deported. They always show these pictures of me in Kenya being arrested the day that I was going to give a press conference by the immigration authorities. I'm looking at myself there. I know what kind of back pain I'm in. First of all, I'm thankful I don't have to stand up to do the press conference. This doctor has given me some medicine he created that for the 10 years I've not been able to walk very well. I'm enormous pain walking. This medicine the doctor created has relieved the arthritis. I can walk again, and I don't have the pain. I want to get this as a supplement marketed in the United States. There's millions of people who could benefit from this medicine. It's a miracle medicine. So the doctor's Israeli, and he's an Israeli oncologist. I guess now Mueller's decided to be anti-Semitic. He's going to go after cancer patients. I didn't make a penny of this. This was a GoFundMe that was set up by Tommy Sickler. The money went to Tommy Sickler. Corsi Nation and I did not make a penny of it. My staff can document that all the money was raised into GoFundMe. The GoFundMe money went to Tommy, did not come to me. And what's so objectionable to me is that cancer has really been devastating in my family. Any number of members, people died from cancer in my family. And so it's a very, very personal issue to me. And I have fought for cancer survivors. I've raised money for cancer survivors. I wanted to find cures. This doctor from Israel, and I guess, the anti-Semitic nature now, they've got he's from Israel, and they can't find him. Now they're going to go after an Israeli doctor who has remarkable success with cancer. And he came to the United States to deal with very few patients. Tommy's one of the very, very few people he's dealt with in the United States. And now Mueller wants to intrude my doctor-patient relationship, to question the doctor doesn't exist, to accuse me of a scam. It wasn't enough that they rang the doorbell on my stepson, 43 years old, 43 years old, lives alone. They thought he was my IT expert. I guess this is outrageous that they are. I'm angry, Larry, that they are going to the extent of intruding upon my personal life, because I won't lie to Mueller and his henchmen. This is outrageous. This is not justice in America. And look, as Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, And I said last night on television to the national audience, my purpose here is not eternal. It's not of this earth. My purpose is eternal. And if I have to die in jail, I will, but I'm going to bring to the American people that our justice system is being run by political hacks who are criminals, and that's proved by the so-called Mueller special counsel, which is nothing more than a politically motivated criminal operation.
Well, yes, and Jerry, the leaking of grand jury information is criminal. And this is going to be brought up in front of Judge Richard Leon. To give people a little history, and I think they know from prior shows, is that Judge Leon is the judge, courageously, who preliminarily enjoined the Obama National Security Agency on 2 occasions from illegal mass surveillance of the American people. This, of course, happened. I filed a lawsuit. I actually filed it on my own behalf and some clients right after Edward Snowden revealed this mass surveillance, because it violates the attorney-client privilege. And that is exactly the pretext with your case as well. And that's why I designated the case as related to Richard Leon, because he's one of the few judges in this country that has the courage to stand up to someone like Robert Mueller. So we're going to be raising that, and I hope that people, will follow. And you can even come to that hearing on January 3rd. There'll be standing room only, I'm sure. But it's a big event in Washington, D.C., because of the fact that you are openly challenging this special counsel, this runaway rogue special counsel who will do anything to try to destroy you to get President Trump.
He's inventing crimes. He's inventing crimes. I mean, they have my whole life. I turned over my laptops, my computers. I was using this time machine application, which, backs up into an external hard drive 4 times a month, everything in my computer. I couldn't erase anything, not from that time machine. That's why the computer broke.
Jared, we're going to be right back with the second segment of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Let's pick it up from that point. We need to hear the story.
Dangerous.
Don't care. Use the court and the law.
Lethal.
This is bad.
Special Prosecutor
Very bad.
Larry Klayman.
If you'd like to support Freedom Watch and this radio show, go to freedomwatchusa.org.
I'm back with my courageous client, Dr. Jerome Corsi. Jared, continue on with what you were saying, because we need to lay this out for the American people.
Well, Larry, I'm saying, look, I laid my life in front of Mueller. I gave him my computers, my backup. This computer broke, the laptop I was using, and I still kept the laptop, and I kept this time machine, external hard drive, so everything was preserved on it. Mueller is now going through every aspect of my life. Next, they're going to be looking at my business dealings. I'm sure they looked at my tax filings. Larry, I wrote this book, Silent No More, and the subtitle is How I Became a Political Prisoner of Mueller's Witch Hunt, and it's going to be out in the hardcover in March, and the publisher says we make more money in the hardcover. I said, I don't care. Get out the ebook right now. Well, the ebook is available today. You can buy the ebook. And I wrote this first person because I'm not going to be silent anymore. I'm going full out public, and I'm going to expose Mueller as a criminal and a political hack, which is what he is, deep state operative. He says he's a Republican. Yeah, well, that's a joke. Of course, the Republicans are half of them deep state hacks, too, in Washington. The point is, listen, that book, Silent No More, is written first person. You're sitting there right with me. It's the first time anybody has given an inside account, day to day, what it's like to be in front of this Gestapo investigation. They yell at you. They scream at you. You'll see it. You'll read it. It's gripping. You won't be able to put it down. I was working from my attorney's notes that he took during the session. It's all accurate. My memory, I was writing it as it happened. So every day I'd be writing this book. And it's out there now. Go on Amazon.com. If you don't have a Kindle, there's a free application that you can get from Amazon. It's right there underneath the listing. And you can read it even if you don't have a Kindle. It's Silent No More. Make sure you get the Kindle edition. It's available now. I recorded the audio book. I just finished it last weekend, and I think it's going to be gripping to hear me tell the story inside of what it was like. Mueller is going to hate this. I hope he hates it, because I hope the whole country listens to this silent no more, because we've got to put an end. This is not justice in America. This is Gestapo. It's totalitarian. It's KGB. I felt like I was an American soldier in the Korean War, captured by the North Koreans and being interrogated by the communist Chinese. We've got to put an end to Mueller. It's got to end.
Well, and of course the dichotomy here is that, they want to bring down the president of the United States. Mueller is establishment Republican. You have establishment Democrat. They both hate the president. He broke up their money train. He broke up their power. They want him gone. They want their own candidate on both sides to run for president in 2020. So that's what it's about. And Mueller's on the verge of issuing his report, probably interim. All heck's going to break loose shortly after the turn of the new year with an impeachment of the president. But Jerry, run us through briefly. We're going to continue on with our next segment, which is a longer segment. But briefly, give us your background, because you are an accomplished reporter, investigative reporter, journalist. You've written a number of bestsellers. And, people try to brand you as a conspiracy theorist. Well, thank God there are people out there like you and me who are conspiracy theorists, because conspiracies happen, and they're happening right now. So give the people a little background in terms of your creative works in the past.
Well, Larry, first of all, I have a Harvard PhD in political science. In 1972, I wrote my dissertation on the Pentagon Papers case, the U.S. New York Times v. U.S., which is very interesting because that's coming around now. I must have had some knowledge that, this was going to happen, because that was what I studied at Harvard, First Amendment cases. At any rate, I have had three careers. I was very successful in academics. I did a lot of research for the federal government. I had a very successful, more than quarter-century career in international finance. I created two broker-dealers. 2004, I changed careers again when I co-authored with John O'Neill Unfit for Command, which is the Swiftboat book against John Kerry. I've written 20 books since 2004. 7 of them have been New York Times bestsellers. 2 of them were number 1. And my current bestseller, which is Killing the Deep State, is still selling very well. Now I've added to it, Silent No More, this ebook, which is available now. And Larry, I've been a journalist since 2004. I've worked with WND.
Well, we're going to come back and get into that in just a second, because I don't want people to understand who Jerry Corsi is. So stay tuned.
And now, 4 words that make corrupt politicians make wee-wee in their little pants.
Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Special Prosecutor Larry Klayman.
Be the one who makes our country great again. Go to freedomwatchusa.org and donate.
Jared, continue on with your past, because it's very important that the American people know what you did with regard to John Kerry, how you brought him down because the guy was a fraud. He was, frankly, a traitor. You've gone into various other issues that you get criticized for, the Obama birth certificate, which clearly is a fraud as well, regardless of where he's born. No one wants to face that. And if you say anything about it, then you're called a racist. But we know for a fact that it is a fraud. And you take on these hard issues, and that's the way I am. That's why we're friends. That's why we're colleagues. That's why you're my client, because somebody in this country has to do it. You have to do more than just getting documents, and going on TV or radio, is that you're actually taking action. And that's why I admire you so much. So let people know more about who you are, because that is relevant to what's going on, because you're a threat to the establishment. You're a threat to the Democrats and Republicans that want to take down this president.
Well, Larry, I've had all my career, and certainly with the Swiftboat movement, and I was honored to be part of that. It was a national movement. John O'Neill, Admiral Halfman led the movement. They were the real heroes. I helped write the book, and I worked to advance the cause throughout 2004. We beat John Kerry by exposing his fraudulent record in Vietnam. And I don't accept government explanations. I mean, in 1963, I knew Jack Kennedy. I was a truant from school. I'd been in Washington with my dad in the 50s. McClellan Committee hearings with John Kennedy when they exposed the mob moving into the Teamsters. I studied that, followed that. I knew the mobsters. I got deeply into it. At any rate, when Jack Kennedy was killed, that day, I was 17 years old. I knew he was killed by a coup d'etat. We got another coup d'etat going on right now against Trump. They want to depose by means of this politicizing, weaponizing the Department of Justice. They want to get rid of a legitimately elected president, Donald Trump, because they can't stand that Hillary Clinton was such a hag, an old, worn-out candidate, that nobody wanted her totalitarianism, socialism, except for a hard left. And look, Larry, I've exposed all kinds of things. I mean, I wrote a book on Jack Kennedy's death, who really killed Kennedy. I was one of the first who went out against peak oil. I said it's nonsense. I was writing in 2005 that the United States would be the leading producer in oil. I got ridiculed for that. All my work against Obama. All I want to see is show me the original 1961 birth materials, the certification that's in Hawaii. That'll end the story. I was there with law enforcement, Mike Zulu, cold case posse from Sheriff Arpaio, when they got thrown out by the Department of Health in Hawaii that refused to show law enforcement the original 1961 birth documents for Barack Obama. I want hard proof of these issues, and I'm willing to take on the government. The government lies. The government lies every day. If a government official says something, I think it's a lie. And that's how I was trained. And I think these people believing the government and government official explanations are fools, because the government is going to tell you what the government wants to tell you to keep you controlled, to keep you in order, make sure you follow your directions. We have become in the United States the government our founding fathers rebelled against. Is a large, overwhelming government, is more totalitarian and tyrannical than King George ever was. More taxing, more destroying of freedom. Our government has become a tyranny, and I think it's time to do fundamental changes. I've been working now for going on to 15 years to try to accomplish it with my writing. The only thing I ever really wanted to be was an investigative journalist, and I finally got the chance to do it. And Larry, my life is motivated by Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I'm not here on an earthly purpose. Right now, my purpose is to tell everybody that our Justice Department is run by political criminals, and it is manifested in this obnoxious, criminal, intrusive operation that's called the Mueller Special Counsel. You want a joke? That now wants to examine my physicians, my work for cancer patients. What does this have to do with Russian collusion? They're trying to find a crime on me because they hate me. They don't want you reading Silent No More, and they want to imprison me.
Absolutely, Jerry. I have the same mission, okay? I believe that the Father and the Son put me here to do this, put you and I together and some of my other clients. Jesus came to me twice during difficult periods in my life. I've talked about that in my book, and I have a book called Whores, Why and How I Came to Fight the Establishment, another one called Essays of a Mad Man. And we're very much alike. And somebody has to rise up and tell the truth. And you can't accept everything as if it's Kool-Aid, is that it has to be uncovered. And what you see in France right now, these revolts, I mean, that's a warm-up back to what's going to happen here if this thing isn't straightened out in terms of our justice system. And just last week, I got a letter on your behalf because I represent you along with David Gray, my very fine co-counsel, from the Senate Intel Committee, from the chairman, Richard Burr, a Democrat, and from the ranking member, Mark Warner. Okay, they're basically flip sides of the same coin. I've sat in on some of their hearings. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, the two of them, it's like they've been married or something. I don't know. Democrat, Republican, a Democrat and Republican establishment working together to destroy this president. And I went to Richard Burr early on when we learned through whistleblowers that there was this mass surveillance going on. We learned that Donald Trump was wiretapped and surveilled, people around him, Michael Flynn, most likely Jeff Sessions. That explains his being inert for so much time because they got him on wiretaps, and virtually everyone. And Burr wouldn't look into this. Now, why is it that they won't look into this, but yet we get a letter just last Friday, it's going to be up on CorsiNation.com and LarryKlayman.com, asking basically to get into your underwear, everything about you. They want to now investigate in addition to Robert Mueller. So they're actually the alter ego of special counsel Robert Mueller. And we're going to, face up to that. I'm not going to reveal our legal strategy here. But this is an absolute outrage. And you've got a Republican chairman of the Senate Intel Committee. It tells you why you need a Jerry Corsi, why you need a Larry Klayman, why you need people that'll stand up. Because the people that are supposed to represent us in Congress, it's a dog and pony show. It's frankly just a charade to get them reelected to raise money for them. So, Jerry, I want to get your take on that because, now we've got the Senate Intel Committee coming after us.
Well, Larry, this is outrageous. I mean, they should be investigating the substance of our criminal complaint to the Department of Justice and our legal suit before Judge Leon in the Federal District Court. Why doesn't Burr and Warner take on the issue of the massive illegal electronic surveillance? My case also proves that special counsel, Aaron Zelinsky, Jeannie Rhee, Aaron Goldstein, the three Democrats who were doing this Kafkaesque inquisition of me for 40 hours and 6 sessions and blew it up and want to throw me in prison the rest of my life, 72 years old. Why don't they investigate all the illegal electronic surveillance we're under? Pretty soon they're going to be able to do facial recognition. Every aspect of your life the government is going to own to replay for you if you don't keep a proper social score where you're a good citizen. Dare say one thing and you'll be ostracized. You won't be able to use your credit cards. You won't be able to travel. That's where we're headed. I want to stop it now. And this government leaking, which we can prove, Mueller leaking, that article attacking my physician also, my Israeli physician, I guess they're anti-Semitic now too. So look, if they want to get my physicians, how about my priests, my confessors? Why don't they go to them? I mean, look, Larry, this has got to stop. And I'll be happy to make my case the one in which we draw the line and say no more King George. And I'm done with it. I'm going to go. Look, Larry, they also try to bankrupt you. They try to make it so that you can't work. I mean, this plea deal, I was going to have to quit working. Jeannie Rhee, this Hillary Clinton lawyer in her email case and in her foundation, said I shouldn't report to my regulators in securities and insurance where I hold licenses that I'm now a felon which I refused to be, because they want me to go to a federal judge and swear that I had knowingly or willfully given them information I knew to be false to deceive them. I didn't do that, and I would not swear that before God. But if I had, they said, you can't tell the regulators because this is secret. I said, no, wait a minute. Now they've also asked me to break regulations with the securities regulators and the insurance regulators who could come after me for another set of crimes. This was a criminally structured plea deal that I refused. And Larry, if people just go to CorsiNation.com, we're documenting everything. We're archiving my appearances on the media. We'll put this radio show up on that. And if people can, please pray. It's prayer that will break this. And, to save my family from going bankrupt, is Dad going to go to prison? Is he going to be arrested by Mueller on Christmas Day? I don't know. Could be. It might happen. I'd tell the family it could happen.
This is more serious than Grandma being run over by a reindeer, okay? We're being run over by the federal government. And the American people know that, and they're hopeless right now. And, you can watch cable TV, you can read articles and this and that, but Jerry Corsi is actually doing something here. And, this latest thing, this mass surveillance, that's our lawsuit, our $350 million lawsuit, the wiretaps. Obviously, we're under surveillance every time I talk to you. I'm sure we are. Everybody is. And Judge Leon is the one who found in the case that I brought against Obama and his NSA that we live in an Orwellian state, a police state. He understands that. He called that case a case of the pinnacle of national importance. And so I hope that he'll take this up because he has the power in his hands to put a chink into the side of Robert Mueller and to take some control. And then our other case, our FOIA case with the grand jury leaks, is before Judge Emmett Sullivan. Now, he's probably the only Democrat judge out there that I've encountered in 41 years of legal practice and being a litigator who has the courage to take Mueller on, too. And, of course, now he's looking at what happened with General Mike Flynn and how they got him in a perjury trap illegally. And I think he's going to throw that out, too. So we got a couple good judges here, and we've got the chance to really do something. And that's, where we're headed. And with regard to the Congress and the Senate, they need to be held accountable as well. They're not doing anything.
If people just visit CorsiNation.com and pray, and if you can donate, there's a fund there. You can contribute to PayPal. You can go with GoFundMe and Donor Box, a P.O. Box. You can write a check. I'm not asking people to do anything that they don't want to do or can't afford. Prayers are what I really need. And the money is just to make sure, are we going to lose the House? Well, my wife said to me, Larry, she said, I'd rather visit you in prison until you die than to have you not be the man I married. And she will work, and the family will keep the house no matter what we have to do. But I'm not rolling over to this. I want to take on the Senate Intelligence Committee. I want to take on Mueller. I want to take on whomever comes after me. I'm going to fight for my freedoms in what was bequeathed to us by our founding fathers. I go through Arlington Cemetery and in tears looking at the graves of the men and women who have given their lives so this nation might be free, and to think that we're throwing it away with this hard totalitarian left political correctness. It's got to stop, Larry. It's got to stop.
And you are instrumental in doing that, Jerry, and I thank you. And, I do believe God is on our side. That's why we don't have Hillary Clinton as president right now, frankly. And I thank you for everything you're doing, Jerry, and I'm dedicated to you, and we're going to take this to the very end and get justice. I'll be right back with the verdict section of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Thank you, Jerry.
Before he was a trial lawyer, he sliced him and diced him.
People used to ask me, Larry, what caused you to start Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch, given the powerful forces in this country that put you at risk?
In a meat packing plant.
I'm the son of meat packers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I know how to slice and dice.
A very special prosecutor, Larry Klayman.
If you'd like to support Freedom Watch and this radio show, go to freedomwatchusa.org.
Here's the verdict, ladies and gentlemen. We, the people, must rise up. Not just take back our government, but we need to take it apart, as we say at the beginning of the show, and put it back in the vision of our founding fathers. Jerome Corsi, the good doctor, the great author, the patriot, he's standing up for you, and he needs your help. Go to CorsiNation.com. It helps pay the legal fees in this case, as well as, this makes a point that we've got the support of the American people. And you can see what I'm doing at LarryKlayman.com. But let's talk about what I'm doing also at Freedom Watch, because there was news this week as well on that score. And, of course, we brought lawsuits for another great patriot, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, someone that the left and the Republican establishment want to destroy as well. We sued CNN, the communist news network, in effect. I call that, it's not in jest. I mean, they've gone far, far left. Andrew Cuomo called Arpaio a felon. He's not a felon. There was a finding that he committed a misdemeanor. He was pardoned. It's up on appeal. He didn't intentionally violate any order. And then that was followed up on by the Huffington Post and Rolling Stone. He previously brought a case against the New York Times for defaming him. We've got this leftist media which is trying to destroy Dr. Corsi as well, and we're standing up to that. We brought a lawsuit previously, and this made a lot of news this week too, with regard to Chief Justice Roy Moore of the Alabama Supreme Court, who was defamed by that degenerate Sacha Baron Cohen, claiming that, through a prank, and a fraudulent prank on Showtime, that the good judge, the esteemed judge, was a pedophile. He's no pedophile. I've known Judge Moore for a very long time. He's a good Christian man, but he was destroyed politically to get Doug Jones elected for the Democrats in Alabama. And he stood up for his rights, and he sued Showtime and CBS and Sacha Baron Cohen. CBS owns Showtime. This made worldwide news because this week we filed a pleading that they defrauded him. Showtime's trying to get the case to New York, where they think they're going to get a liberal judge. But we want it in Washington, D.C. We've got a good judge there, like we have with Judge Leon and Judge Sullivan. So, we're making news. And then, of course, on the horizons are our citizens' grand juries. The great Justice Antonin Scalia said the grand jury belongs to the American people, not to the three branches of government. And we're going to be holding corrupt public officials, including Mueller, accountable at those citizens' grand juries, trying them, convicting them, asking President Trump to enforce the convictions, and if necessary, peacefully and legally seeking to carry out sentencing and punishment ourselves in an illegal and proper way. So we're out there. Judicial Watch, is what I founded back in 1994. They get mostly documents. Right now, we're bringing the hard-hitting cases. We're on the front lines with Dr. Corsi, with Sheriff Joe Arpaio, with Roy Moore, and we need your contributions for what we're doing under the auspices of Freedom Watch, which is also pursuing the issue of grand jury leaks. So go to freedomwatchusa.org. Contribute with tax-deductible contributions to our cause. We are your Justice Department. We are, frankly, your only hope. And, I don't want to puff and pound my chest and say Larry Klayman's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you know what? One of my heroes, John Adams, he would take unpopular causes. He defended the British on Boston Common who were provoked and fired upon by the colonialists. He lost his legal practice doing that. He later became one of our greatest founding fathers, along with Jefferson and Franklin and others. And it's the Jerry Corsis, the Sheriff Joe Arpaios, the Roy Moores of the world who are standing up to this tyranny. And they're branded conspiracy theorists. Well, you know what? Conspiracies happen. It's two or more people moving in concert to commit crimes. And we have Special Counsel Mueller with his conflicted and, frankly, vile prosecutorial staff, pro-Clinton, pro-Democrat, anti-Trump staff, which is trying to take this president down, who is our last hope in terms of a president. If he does not succeed, and if he's removed from office, and he will soon be impeached, and we need to stand up for him, the next president will be 100 times worse than Barack Hussein Obama. And that's the bottom line. And that's why we need your support. So go to freedomwatchusa.org for the Freedom Watch activities. Go to CorsiNation.com to support his legal defense fund. I'm representing him privately. And this is the fate of our nation. So until next week, God bless you, God bless your family, God bless America, and God save America.